right, guys. So MVP here is definitely a very, very special honor to be nominated for MVP. So the person that added the most value to the district, went above and beyond, and given a lot here. So we're going to highlight this person here, but what we're going to do is we're going to go live to Dan Swanston. He's going to introduce this week's MVP of the week. Let's give it for Dan Swanston. Woo-hoo!
Good morning, D6.
Good morning, Tyler.
So I have a great pleasure of announcing our MVP this week. This individual has been with us for a while now and has been just a great presence in the office whenever they're here. And on top of that, just demonstrating a great level of consistency. You know, one of the hardest things in this business is to learn to become consistent and just to show up to everything and to produce every week. It's not easy at first, but if you keep plugging at it, you find the way. And this is definitely a person that's just on the brink of reaching their 1 year of being straight in the field. Hit gold last week with nearly a double winner's score. And we really wanted to acknowledge this person because they have so much value to offer the office and leadership and wisdom. So I'm going to announce our MVP of the week, Abigail Danek.
Woohoo, Abigail.
Yay, Abigail! Woohoo, Abigail! What about my hair? Okay, it was the hair. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I am honored to stand before you here as MVP, and it's an honor for me because really what I look at when anybody stands in front of me and they're going to give any kind of teaching training is that there's an impartation and there's a responsibility in that. So I thank you and thank God, number one, for who keeps me humble. No. Okay. I feel like a song coming. Oh Lord. No. Okay. So what's been working for me, and so that's what I want to go with, is what's been working for me. So I actually had to go back and last August I was MVP, and I went to take I went to listen to what it was that was helping me win back then, because I was really excited, right? And so I went back to listen to that talk that I did, and just wanted to really think about what was I thinking, what was I doing, and so I went back to that. And back then it was all about the promoter talk. We were huge on the promoter talk back in August. The promoter talk for me, I had just kind of submitted to the promoter talk and said, you know what, this is beautiful. It works well. I kind of came up with it, and but what I did see on there that I was really weak on referrals. And this time around, what has been working for me is three things. Is number one, referrals, excitement for my life and my business, and then prospecting. So we've had some fantastic training from both Mark and Michael, and I think it was on yesterday that Michael was talking about prospecting. And I thought to myself, you know, in business, prospecting is the lifeline, the bloodline of our business. If we're not prospecting, meeting new people, it's very difficult to continue on with business, because if you're in business after a while, you run out of your warm market. So what becomes essential and very, very important is, of course, prospecting and referrals. So with that, and you can't really go out and prospect. I thought, you know, you can't really be out prospecting if you're not excited about what you do, if you're not excited about your life, if you're not excited about your business. And so that was one thing that I thought, you know, I got excited about my business again. I thought to myself, you know, why am I here? I had to go back and remember, and this was something that Michael had said back. I re-listen to his trainings quite often, because some of the things that he says is just great reminders with regard regards to how to run a business. I mean, he was a sales agent, then a sales leader, a district leader. Now he's corporate and training us to be the best, along with Mark. I mean, we can't fail with these things, but excitement and life for our business is so essential. And then the prospecting. Here's the thing: when you prospect somebody, they see you as the professional. When you get referrals, right? If we go out and get referrals. So since January, I was looking at my business and I was going through the numbers that I've submitted so far, and I was taking a look at how many of those were people that I already knew. I took a look at how many of those were people that I prospected, and how many of them were people that I had been referred to me. And the majority of them actually have been referrals. And these referrals are not for me. The referrals that I receive usually for me takes me a long time to get down and sit down with them and get business. But when I do, it's kind of like that domino effect. And then they love it. And then they give me more referrals and more referrals and more referrals. I mean, I have gone down one leg was 7 deep in referrals. Meaning a first person gave me a referral, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one, 7 deep. That's huge because you know you're going to be doing business with them. And this last week, I got together with a guy quite some time ago that I actually met. Does anybody remember going to see Arnold Schwarzenegger? How fun was that? Okay. Yeah. So we went as a group to see Arnold Schwarzenegger. I actually prospected. I got 10 names and numbers at that event. So I've been trained to go and talk to people and get names and numbers. After all, they're all business people. They're also all looking for names and numbers. So it's easy to go to those events and say, give me your name and number. Perhaps we can work together, refer to each other, blah, 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 get excited. And anyway, this guy took forever to sit down with him. And eventually I got him over to my house. I needed a tree cut, and one of his jobs was to cut down trees. And I had this huge, probably 60 feet high. And he's up there and he videoed himself. And I'm like, oh my God, if you ever fell, you would not be around. But anyway, it was beautiful because I could then sell him on what I did with just kind of connecting what he does. And because he told me that he was him and his wife do marriage things, but what he actually does is he climbs trees and chops them down. And anyway, he gave me a referral to another guy before he even did any business. After seeing what he does, before doing any business, he gave me a referral. And then we got together with his wife, and he's like, why didn't you get together with her? Because in the interim, she ended up going to the hospital and getting surgery. And we calculated how much money she would have gotten. She was not happy with him. With that one conversation, he gave me 7 referrals. And two of those were my points last week. So it's beautiful how referrals work. Number one, if you're brand new and you get a referral, they see you as the professional, right? Your warm market. Here we actually train in our warm market. We make money in our warm market. But our warm market doesn't see us as the professional. They see us as whatever they're used to us being. But the referrals is so important, you guys, and the referral talk, the referral script. The last time that I spoke, we talked about the science of the words. That never changes. The science of the words are so important. I was listening to a teaching. I was talking to Mary, and I just want to say thank you so much, Calgary, for welcoming us on Tuesday so beautifully, so kind. And I got such beautiful nuggets from Mary. Well, I sat and chatted with her, and we were talking about the financial house and how important it is to know the financial house when we're presenting. Why? Apparently, now I didn't pay attention to this. So my dad was a politician, and this is one thing that politicians do. They promise you 3 things, every single one of them, and the one that does it the best is the one that wins. They promise you clean water, they promise you living, so jobs, and they promise you food, shelter, and clean water. And I thought to myself, my gosh, everybody that goes into politics, they need to know the science of the words, and that's how they get picked. Why? Because it's the craft crowd that needs to lift them up. Just like us, when we get referrals, when we go out and show somebody, it's those people that we've shown. Those guys are our billboards. There are walking billboards, right? That's why it's so important to learn how to. And I thought to myself, well, what is then all that security that we talk about, that politicians talk about? That's the financial house. When we go, if there's a crack in the foundation, well, who's the foundation? What is the foundation in the financial house? It's us. We're the foundation. If there's a crack in us, if we get sick or hurt, that's right. That's what we have. We have something so beautiful. And I believe that that's what we need to get a hold of and understand. Yesterday or Tuesday, Michael said, just how committed are you to your goals? And I saw that Mark had it at the end of the thing there. Here's a question that we should ask ourselves every single morning, and I believe every single evening, is how committed are we to our daily goals? First thing in the morning when we get up, how committed am I to my daily goals? Because then and you're mindful of what you need to be doing that day. Because how many things come our way to take us out of the game every single day? It could be social media, it could be this, it doesn't matter what it is. But if we're mindful, I remember I used to have a sign on my desk when I was working for another company. I used to have that sign on my desk that one of the big leaders gave everybody, and it stood on the desk and it said, what have I done today to move my business forward? What did I do today? That's this right here that Michael gave us yesterday, is how committed are you to your daily goals? And that's huge, because if we can be mindful of that and be able to answer that and know that we have to answer that every single day, then we're going to be more mindful as far as what we're doing, what we're allowing, and who we're allowing into our each and every day. Is it a phone call? Because here's the thing. I think to myself, man, you could come in brand new. You don't even have to think up of a goal. You don't even have to think up of anything. All you have to do is take the tracker and then boom, chakalaka. That's what you have to do every single day, right? Is the tracker. Is it going to be 10 calls a day, or is it going to be 3 calls a day? That's all you need to decide. How many referrals are you going to get? Because that's going to keep you mindful. So if you say to yourself, just how committed am I to my goals? Just decide, am I making 10 calls or not 10 calls? You should be making way more than 10 calls. It's contacts. How many conversations are you going to have each and every day as far as that goes? So those are the only things that, that I feel for me have, given me success and kept me focused on writing business at least once a week, which, oh my gosh, if you're full time, that's like, it's a shame if we're only doing one, but at the same time, thank God. So that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Let's give it up for Abigail. Oh, let's give a huge round of applause to Abigail. Great job, Abigail. And guys, honestly, last week she did she did nine points with over 4,000 APV. And another thing is that she actually has never missed a trip, because these are the types of things that she's constantly going through. And she hit on 3 big, let's give her a huge round of applause. Never misses a trip. And that is to do with also the Grand Diamond Jubilee, which is a whole lot of fun too. So guys, this company definitely spoils us to go out there and doing stuff, but obviously she's talking about referrals, excitement, and prospecting, which means you're honestly just constantly talking to people. She honestly has given like a precursor to what the whole training's about today, because these are the things that you have to do to build your business. If you're not getting referrals, your business can't really just grow, right? You're doing all these extra things to make sure it's growing. And like, honestly, the way Abigail's been going out there and her positive mental attitude is talking to people, and what she knows, what she's saying there is, if you're in front of somebody, you're going to get more, you're going to be able to do more and be more. And that's what's going to blow up your business in every single which way. So let's give Abigail a huge round of applause.
Abigail!
All right, turn your neighbor, give them a high five and say, thank you, Abigail.
Thank you, Abigail.
And congratulations, Jenny.
Woo, Jenny!
All right, guys, so we are definitely going to get things rocking and rolling here today. And the best thing is, Abigail hit it right on the head with a lot of the stuff that she was talking about today, is about what we're doing, where we're going, and everything like that. But before we get started here today, I'm just going to talk about a couple of things. It's like, here's a crazy question you might get asked. If somebody came up to you, because you've been doing sales for a while, let's just say you've been doing sales. Just imagine you've been doing this for business for a bit, or you've been doing it for a bit. And somebody came up to you and said, how do I win here? How do I win at sales? How do I win at sales? Give me, in 2 sentences, just give me the secret to sales. What would people say? Referrals? Anything else? Anybody just want to yell them out? Building relationships.
Building up your week.
Enthusiasm. Knowledge.
Building up your week.
Voting.
Sincerity.
Yes, 100%.
Building up your week.
Building up your week, right?
Show them you care.
Show them that you care, right?
Talking to people.
Talking to people, prospecting, right? Referrals, all those types of things, right? But what are the major things? If somebody asks you that question, because who kind of feels comfortable saying that? They know exactly what it is to get somebody to succeed. Every person is different, right? But I'm just saying, like, honest, we're in sales, right? We're in a career of sales, outside sales. We're actually some of the best out there because there's a lot of people in sales that tell people how to do sales, but literally people come to them every day. The hardest type of sales ever is outside sales, what you do, but that's why we get paid more than anybody else out there. That's the coolest thing about our journey here. But the idea is, I know a lot of people don't really feel confident in actually saying what it is to actually go and win. Isn't that kind of crazy?
Yeah.
This is what we do for a living, right? I mean, you wouldn't be like, because there's a lot of things, right? It'd be, I was doing finishing carpentry, right? Now there's a lot of things. Yeah, you got to measure things, right? That's probably one, right? You would probably want to learn how to measure things, right? and all these different things. But there's one thing in there that's probably the number one that separates somebody that not knowing what they're doing is cutting the wood. That's the number one thing. If you don't cut the wood, you just put it on the wall, it's weird. Like, you can't just do that, right? So you have to understand how to cut the wood, do the angles, and all that kind of stuff. It's the stuff that's most important, right? So if you ask somebody that's experienced, they would know how to do that. So the idea here is sometimes we're not, if somebody ever asked you that and you had to come up with an answer in 10 seconds, are you ready for it? That's the question, because this is what we do for a living.
Yeah.
And if you don't know that answer, then that means this is not what you do for a living. This is what you do on the side. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you don't know that answer, it's got to be there. And we're going to find out the answer today, so you never have to worry about that again. And you're going to actually have a better answer than anybody can ever hear, because there's a science behind everything. But also today, I'm just going to say this one's about the success route, the route to success, if you will. But the idea here, guys, is I was listening to Mike's training, and Abigail's right. There's nuggets everywhere. But what I've found out lately is everybody's desensitized. Everybody is listening to things, and it goes in and then out. You guys ever see people on Instagram, right? Follow your dreams. Somebody says on there, follow your dreams. And they're shoveling dirt for a living, getting drunk every other page. Follow your dreams. Just because you say that doesn't mean that you're an inspirational speaker, right? So there's this world of taking in information and not doing anything with it, right? Because the training goes by, and Mike's doing a great job, and you go to another seminar, and you go to the seminar, and you come back, and you're like, wow, that was amazing. What an incredible speech. Like what Abigail said today, if you implement what she said today, your business will double.
Mhm.
But for some reason, we'll take that information and be like, and go home and not really do anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the idea here, before we even get started, is we got to make sure it's like anybody can go to the gym. Everybody been to the gym before, and you see these people just walking around, just lifting weights,
That's me.
wearing a dress shirt, and you're like, oh, this guy doesn't even get that part, right? And they're just, and you know what I mean? And then you come back like a year later, and they're in the exact same body, the exact same thing, no progress. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like, me most of the time, right? But the idea is, you can go to the gym, but it's not that you went to the gym that day. It's what did you do at the gym that day?
Mhm.
It's not that you came to training today. It's what did you do at training today?
Yes.
But because all these people are telling everybody how to do and how to win and how to do this kind of stuff, we get desensitized to actually what's happening here. I believe this is the best training you could find on a weekly basis, but I think it's just become normal because then we get into the R2H and it's about the video. It's not about the video. You didn't learn anything. You just, a little quote that got you excited for 10 minutes. I know, I'm the same way too. But now I'm just gonna tell you guys a quick story about when I first got into success in my first business. It was this company, and instead of having trainings every week, they just had the meetings. You guys know, it was a network marketing company, so it was just the meetings. You have to go to the hotels, and it was 5 meetings. And I was talking about the other day, and Teresa Waldner was one of the speakers, and it was just people like awesome speeches every single week, and I would just get pumped up from it. I was like, oh my goodness. And just hearing one thing, I would go to the room and I would just be like, you just see my leg, like, it's the same presentation 5 times a week. Exact same thing, but I'm finding something, getting me excited. And then they would have training, I think 1 day a week really, and then they turned it into 2. But on that trainings, it wasn't like crazy stuff. It was usually somebody come up in front of the room and be like, they had a big week and they just come up in front of the room and be like, so what'd you do? Well, I was in the, what I do is I go into the Walmarts and I just bump into people with my cart and be like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, well, I don't know if I want to do that. First of all, I don't grocery shop, right? Second of all, I'm like, oh, but they're winning. I'm like, you know what they're doing? They're out.
Yeah.
They're out and about and talking to people. So what do I got to do? I got to get out and about and talk to people as many times as possible. So that's when I started mall walking and talking to people mall walking, because it was only people open up at 6 in the morning. So I would take that energy, and then sometimes it'd be like this, just make 1 extra phone call. I'd be like, that's it. That's the secret. Go back to the team. Guess what, guys? Right, when we're going to quit, we're going to do 1 more phone call. Same guy would talk about, you got to build a team good enough to win the Super Bowl. People were like, that's stupid, because we're not playing football. But then I'd be like, guys, we need to build a team good enough to win the Super Bowl. I call them on the phone. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you need to have my back. I'm going to be the captain. You be this person, you be this one, but you can't drop the ball. You got to stop dropping the ball in your life and drop. I'd be crazy. And people are just like, Mark's nuts. But the thing is, many years later, this is where I am. Because you make a big deal out of something, you take the trainings. But are you taking the trainings? What are you doing here today? Because we're going to give you some awesome information, and there's going to be 2 types of people. Some people are like this, I'm going to use that, I'm going to put that right to work. And some people are like, that was very interesting. I'm going to take that quote and I'm going to put it on my Instagram. People are going to know I'm smart. You guys know what I'm talking about? This is the world that we live in. But only the real true success comes out. So we're going to talk about the success route today, but you've got to know that today, are you playing today? Are you writing down notes and be like, what's my 1 nugget? The reason why we do an R2 at the A2 is at the end is not just to be like, what a fancy, couple numbers and letters together. It's to actually take an action step towards moving your business in the right direction. The reason why Jen now is one of the top in the whole company is literally you can hear her every time that she presents. She's implementing so much from the training. And then I'll do another person's, and it's 0, right? And that's why Janelle's continuing to move forward and move forward and move forward. So guys, the number 1 step to success is progress. So we got to know that today, this is going to be great information. This could change your entire business, or it could just be some great information. Maybe you just tell me to wear ties. Make me feel a bit better about that. So we're gonna have some fun today, guys. You guys excited?
Yes.
Ready to take something in?
Yes.
Awesome. Our Wi-Fi
Ready.
is strong.
Ah.
All right, yeah. Your PhD. All right. So how do people become more successful? What a crazy question. Right? Somebody ever asked you that kind of question? How do people become more successful? So we talked about this a little bit over the last little bit. Here's what is something that you have been good at, which is something that you were initially found difficult. So we talked about this a little while ago, not too long, but what was something that you're really good at now, but when you first started at it, you found it difficult? Let's just talk about driving, for instance. First time you're driving, it's overwhelming, you're checking the mirror, your dad's yelling at you, whatever it is, it's kind of a scary kind of thing at the beginning. Now we don't think about it. Now we're good at it, right? So what is that? So how did it happen? How did you get good at whatever you got good at? Remember the first time I was writing on cakes? It was brutal for Dairy Queen, sweet shout out. But over time, I got better. And people don't even believe it's man's writing. That's how good it is. Right? It's that fancy. But guys, the idea is like, how did you get good at that? What was it? What are the things that you know right off the bat? So maybe we could just shout them out here. We won't go to the breakout room on this one. But what is something that you've done, but how did you get good at it? Practice, yes. Anything else?
Don't quit.
Don't quit. Yes, thank you, Maggie Lamb.
Asking for people's feedback on it.
Asking for people's feedback. Thank you, Ginny.
Repetition.
Repetition. Lulu is being forced to do it. I would like,
Get out the comfort zone.
not taking it personally, and then that's awesome, Diane. What's another one?
Comfort zone, getting out of it.
Nothing.
Crickets.
Hear the speaker? It sounded like, no.
Comfort zone.
It's like getting out of the comfort zone.
Getting out of the comfort zone, 100% down. That's a great one, right?
There-
All these things.
Cut it, yeah.
Yeah. But that's it, guys. There's
Asking people that are more successful than you.
Bam, there we go. Dan, asking people that have already done it before, right?
Coachable.
But here it really is. Action plus time equals experience. You're going to break it right down to two things. It's action. If you don't do this business, you don't get better.
That's
If
right.
you don't do this business, you don't get paid. So it's all the
That's right.
action steps of making up the call, doing all those types of things. It's action, and then over time gives you experience. Right, Debbie? Like with a massage therapy, it's like it's over time you really get to figure out how somebody feels when you're doing a massage, right? It's experience. It's anything you've ever done. Like you just get better and better over time. Isn't it the most amazing thing about human beings? We just get better and better over time, but when you're doing the work.
Yeah.
And I like what Lulu said there, is because in a job, you're forced to do it.
With
That's
someone
right.
standing in front of you, for me, it was talking to people.
Yeah.
So someone standing in front of me, I wasn't necessarily good at it, but I had to, because I just wanted to talk, so that
Beautiful.
Love
Well,
it.
she was saying she doesn't really like being in front of people and talking to people, but when somebody would be in front of her and talking to her, she had no choice because it's weird if she doesn't talk back because she's been talking back to her mom her whole life. But obviously she got really good at that. But the idea is, but here's the thing, guys, it's like it's action plus time equals experience. That's it. We all know that, right? Over time here, the more you do this action, the more you get beat up, the more you learn, the better. And then over time, it just becomes, why is like some of the people here, like Janelle in her first 2 years was doing good. And then her third year and her fourth year, actually in her fourth year, she's really starting to kick into gear because over time you get experience and then something clicks in. It's like, okay, I've got better. I've been at the trainings, I've put it into implementing it, right? And it starts to be a lot of fun. Maggie's best at three-foot rule and talking to people. Why? Because she's done it before, right? And she puts Jenny out of her comfort zone. And I can see Jenny's like, I don't talk to her about it. Get her ideas. But Maggie has no problem talking to somebody because that's what she's practiced and done before, right?
That's right.
And then once you do it a few times, you're like, wow, I got some success from this. And you start to perfect it. But a lot of times we don't try things and it doesn't really move forward. So experience is how people become more successful. Would you guys agree to that one?
Agree.
Right? Over time, this is not a brain buster, right? This is
Yeah.
pretty easy. Experience makes us able to do things faster and better.
Correct.
Just like anything, when driving a car, over time, you know exactly what to do when you get in the car. And there's even some things that you naturally do or you skip
Yeah.
just so that you already know how to get to the result a bit quicker, right?
Yeah.
Right? Before you used to putt around and just do the speed limit. And then over time, you got a little bit more comfortable and a little bit better. And so you can go a little bit faster and get to the destination a little bit faster. So let's talk about this. To become successful and combined, we know it's going to take time and consistent action.
True.
Does everybody understand that kind of thing? Like that's, I think, has been in every single training. Abigail just talked about it. Mike's talked about it. Every single person's always told you consistent action and it's going to take time. But for some reason, we want it now. Isn't that kind of crazy? We want the, Mark, I just want to play Plinko every single week. Okay, how many presentations you got? Don't talk to me about presentations. Just talk to me about Plinko and I can play that game, right? So it's always about we want this instant gratification. So why don't we do it? So this is going to be the breakout room. So to become successful and combined, we know what's going on and takes time and consistent action. So why don't we do it? So maybe just write down an answer just for yourself of why don't you know that these are the two things to do it. If you just do the presentations, you book the calls, you do that kind of stuff, but for some reason, what's holding us back and we don't do it? So just take a quick 30 seconds to do that. And then we'll go to the breakout rooms just on that question. And we'll just take a quick 2 minutes. Just talk about what's kind of holding you back, what's kind of doing that kind of stuff. That could open up a whole can of worms, but we're gonna play that game anyways. All right, so let's go to the breakout rooms here and just share a couple of things here. Go into two or two or three groups in here, and we'll do the same thing in Edmonton, and we'll do breakout rooms. We'll come back in 2 minutes here, just rapid fire, just a few things. All right, welcome back, everybody here. Turn to your neighbor and give them a high five and say, "It's just easier not to."
It's just easier not to.
Right?
That's crazy.
Obviously, it comes down to that. It's easy to do this business. It's just easier not to.
Sure.
right? And that's the best thing about human beings. And the worst thing is that we love the least path of resistance. So we're just going to do like, okay, you know what? I know I got to do these 10 appointments, but let me just get through my day first and build up the steam for it. Because later in the day, I get more energy for some reason. That's not true, but you try to trick yourselves, right? I'm a night person. Today, I've never been a night person, but today I'm going to change, right? We're talking about changing and stuff like that. So the reason why we want to ask this question is because we want people to self-realize, like, why don't we do it? Like, it's all here. The trips, the prizes, everything you can ever think of. This company just continues to throw money at us. I don't even understand the paychecks over time. You get residuals, and it's just like I look at people, I'm like, oh my, you got paid that much money? And it's like, and then it keeps paying you. So it's like whatever you do 1 year, it actually starts the next year. We went through that in training, guys. It's like unbelievable. It's like the dream job of dream jobs.
Yeah.
And you're building a business, and no one can tell you just be like, you have to do, you're just like, no, this is my business. If you want to take the weekend off, you can. But we also want to understand, how do we get successful at this business?
Right.
So it's probably because the dream is sold that the only way to become successful is to win it or become lucky. It's a lottery mentality. There's a lot of people that do this business and kind of in the background because they're like, okay, one day, whenever I get everything else, my kids grow up, I don't have any, but when they get up there, I know that I have my lottery tickets here. Because it is the lottery ticket. I promise you this.
It is.
This is unbelievable what this thing will pay you if you go at it. And we haven't even gone at it yet. Trust me on that. Like when you really understand, like when this thing starts to go and people start calling you and you're like, oh my goodness, this thing's going to go. There's only 35,000 clients in Alberta. Every single person needs this. And there's 4 million people in Alberta. Like every time you guys show, like how many people out of 10 are like, this is stupid. I already have this, right?
No, nobody.
Nobody says that. Like what a gift do we have? And the only problem is here. So if we know it is, and that's because people just this, and that's why they're kind of just waiting for anything, it's all going to work out. And guys, we all know it doesn't just work out. So how do the world's most successful people do it? Great job, Abigail, talking about Arnold. Is like Elon Musk, Richard Branson, Arnold Schwarzenegger. How do they become successful everywhere they do? Right? Obviously, they failed and got beat up and all these types of things. And you look at it like Richard Branson, he started Virgin Records, and then he's Virgin Airlines, and then Virgin Phones, and now he's building a cruise liner.
Mhm.
Like just every single thing, and he looks like he's just having. Every time I look on his Instagram, he's just playing tennis on his island, right? Because he knows what to do in his day, right? That's what he's figured out something,
Yeah.
right? So what are they? They're not different than us, you know. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger, he lifts weights, gets super famous, wins the championships, goes, I'm going to go be a box office hit in America. He can't even speak English. But he gets here and he starts taking classes a night about his English, taking classes a night about his speaking, working a job, and he's trying to get into film. And he becomes the #1 blockbuster star of all times.
Mhm.
He was making $40 million a movie, every movie. And then he goes, that's enough. I'm going to marry into American royalty. Marries a Kennedy. Boom. Knocks it right out the park. Look at the gap between his teeth. No big deal. This guy's getting it all. And then after that, he goes, you know what? I'm going to run for governor for a state he can't even pronounce. And he wins it twice in a row. What is the success? He's got a formula. We got to know that he has a formula somewhere, whether you like him or
No
not.
blending.
He's got a formula. He's got something going in there. So what are they doing that's happened?
Wow.
Do you guys want to know the secret?
Yes.
Yes.
You guys want to know the 100% the secret? This is what it is, and this is what we're going to talk about our business. This is what's going to go into overdrive today. If you're ready for it, this is literally the secret of what they're doing, 100%. And this is why they become successful. And if you follow this, and you might not even like the phrase that I'm going to say to you, but this is the real truth. They follow the money. And I'm going to explain what that means. Because some people are like, oh, it's not about money, Mark. Obviously it isn't. But to them it is. Because here's the thing about the world. Successful people find the direct route to the ways to win. See, what happens is, we were talking about it, there's all these distractions that happen every single day. But these guys, Elon Musk, you're not going to get to talk to this guy. He has meetings intervaled through his day at 5 minutes.
Wow.
Not half an hour, not 45 minutes, 5-minute intervals. You think you're going to sit there and talk to him about your issues?
Mhm.
No, he's running
No
like
way.
5 companies. I don't even know what who is this guy? He's running all these companies and they're all succeeding. Like
Wow.
Tesla almost died and now it's We're 200 billion. I don't even understand what's going on, right? So he's just doing all this type of stuff. So what is happening here is because in today's society, the world currency is money. And they understand that. So don't take anything bad about money. It's just the world's currency. You can't do anything without buying and using money, right? We all kind of understand and figure that out. So this is why we started this job. You have to start it for money because that's what makes the world go round. So they understand the best route is to follow the money. The best route is to find out what's the best and fastest way to get the money. Does that make sense a little bit?
Mhm.
So you think he's not gonna worry about stuff that doesn't matter to the bottom line? Because really that's the next thing here. They prioritize what's going to get them the best return. Remember, we're starting a business here. I don't know if you guys remember that. They focus on what's actually going to increase the bottom line. Because sometimes people, we get busy. You ever seen super busy before?
Mhm.
We can start getting super busy, which means we can start doing all these other things around the house. Listen, I got to get my office ready. And after I get my office ready, the Zoom's going to be ready and they're going to know that I'm a professional. Then you spend 2-3 weeks getting your office ready. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
You might be like, oh, that's not true. Probably there's something else that you're probably doing that without doing exactly what it is. But these successful people have a formula which is getting to actually follow the money. So I always talked about my buddy Kosi. So he's a successful businessman. He's on their top 40 under 40, everything like that. But just about 5 years ago, not even 4 years ago, he was a full-out engineer. Super knows math, does nothing about sales, knows nothing about business. He just knows about real estate because that's what he studied on the side, and he knows about engineering. And he was one of the highest paid engineers. And I told him one time, I said to him, because he's talking about being worth 100 million or $1 billion. I'm like, well, you ever met anybody that got rich from a job? And he's like, no. And then he quit his job within a year after that. So his job was to go out there and find businesses. Essentially, he goes through a few, fails at a few, whatever, and he finds this one, then ends up buying, finds the money for it somehow, doesn't have $17 million, but finds the money for it, gets in the bank, and gets into this company. Because he knows if he's found out from Warren Buffett that if you take a company and you increase the value in it, it increases that and your net worth and all that kind of stuff goes up and you can buy more companies. So that was kind of his plan. So he starts off with the first one. He doesn't know anything about sales. He doesn't know anything about a whole lot of the business stuff, but he understands to study how can he increase this company. So he goes, Mark, what's the #1 way to increase all the things you've ever done? Sales. It's the #1 thing to increase any company is sales.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter, your customer service and all those things can be good, but if without money coming in, the company dies, right? So we all understand that it's sales. So he goes, okay, so this company's been around, it's a company that's been around for 30 years. So he's like, okay, they know all this kind of stuff. How do I increase it? He's like, so he starts, making sure there's no many people getting paid for doing nothing and all that kind of stuff. But that can only increase so much. So he goes into a world of sales, but he goes on to online sales because this is a stainless steel company. So they build like breweries, distilleries, and all that kind of stuff. So he goes online and he tries to figure out that world. You guys ever try to figure out that kind of world?
Mhm.
We see all the ads popping up,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, goes into that. He's like, maybe there's something here. So then he starts going into there,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh, okay. So he's like, I don't got time to whatever. But can I just bounce some ideas off of you on sales? So he's like, if somebody goes to this here, how do I get people to click here, and move along? I'm like, okay, alternative choice, right? Close-ended questions. So just saying a couple things here, picking here, and here. And he goes, okay. Picks my brain for a little bit and goes this, and then next week calls me up again, same call. Asking me more questions about what to do here, and here. Next thing you know, 6 months later, the company went from doing 1.5 million a month to 3 million a month, and then to 5 million a month. And now it's just increasing. Now the company's worth like $60 million, and that's why he got on top 40 under 40. But all he did was follow the money and didn't care about anything else. He's like, I just need to increase the bottom line, and he brings in more clients. They've actually had to have built another shop. They're now buying another place, and on top of that, they have to get a night shift because there's so much orders coming in, and in the middle of COVID.
Mhm.
No excuses, and he's just figured this out. So I'm like, okay. So I asked the action, hey, can I see what you've done? Literally, all this work, I've seen it, and it was just like alternate choice all the way through. And he just he's like, oh, I just listened to what you said, and I just put it on here, and it worked. And then he altered and changed and came back to me and changed things. He just figured out, he just went, I'm not gonna waste Mark's time. He said this, I'm gonna go try this, and he started playing with it and going like this stuff. You guys know, and I know people like, okay, yeah, Mark, let's get into leads and stuff. Some of you guys know, you know how much he spends a week on ads?
Nothing.
$30,000. So if you're like, oh, I want to get some ad spend, just to give you guys an idea, if you're not spending 5-10 grand a week, you're not going to get what you're looking for. So just to let you guys know that kind of stuff. Just so you're like, oh my goodness. But that's it, because he spends $1 million a year, he gets this because he figured out, but most people will not spend $1 million a year on ads. And that's how you start to increase the business. So the guys understanding, it's all about following the money to understand the business, that he did whatever it takes to follow that to increase the business. Does that make sense? So there's certain things in the business, which is sales, which can increase your business, but there's other things that we're doing that are just filling up our time. And I might just maybe a little like, whatever, what's Mark going on? It's because I don't want to keep coming to trainings and being like, oh, this is amazing. And then next week it's just nothing, right? You can't do that anymore, right? You gotta be hanging around champions. You gotta take in the information, because you're like, oh my goodness. Did you hear what Abigail said? She's been on every single trip. She did 9 points last week. Oh my goodness. She said referrals. I don't want to get crazy about referrals. Like just that, I've just been going nuts. Just anything, right? Work on your fitness for 6 months and you're in better shape than more than 90% of people. Work on your business for 6 months and you're ahead of 90% of the competition. Work on your finances for 6 months and you're wealthier than 90% of your peers. The problem is no one will put in the time. It's right there, 6 months. If you just gave yourself 6 months of just being like, how do I get this business, and start talking like a crazy person about how to increase your business, you'll be unbelievably surprised of how amazing we can really be. I'll put that one in the group for you guys after.
Yes, please.
There's that quote. Boom, that's all I did. I can tell my friends about this. It's so funny how we are. It's crazy. So let's think like an experienced business person, okay?
Okay.
Because that's the key word, is experienced business person. So how does Arnold do it? How are all these people doing it? How do successful people take a company and increase it like that? Because it's not just because it's that, it's because the person followed to find the money to increase it. They don't waste their time. You might be like, Mark, that's against all my morals. I don't believe in money. They make the money and give it back to charity. I don't know, whatever you want to do, but whatever you want to trick yourself or say to yourself. But the idea is the whole world kind of revolves around this. So let's get into the mindset of it. So this is where we're going to shift our brain to get excited about it. The reason why I talk like this, guys, is because I just love like the route to success. I'm like, I get so excited. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like my parents are here. I want to go here. You know what I mean? Like, how can we do it? Like, I want a car like that. I want a house like that. If they did it, I can do it. You ever heard some of these people speak? You're like, really? This guy's making that? Come on now, right? They're just doing it and they're just focusing, laser focus. You know, it's like, I don't know if you guys watch hockey, but there's a guy named Ovechkin. He's the best goal scorer of all times. But his thing is just scoring goals, scoring goals. He doesn't care about passing, scoring goals, scoring goals. And then you get the success you want. So if you're laser focused on it, it starts to change everything. So let's get through these. You have to take it serious. This is your business. Make this opportunity your top priority. Everything said in training is to get you better. Just be like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to get to training. There's going to be a nugget and it's going to increase my business. I'm going to practice on that right afterwards. I'm going to implement it right afterwards, and I'm going to get this thing going. Take it serious. Like your life depends on it, and I guarantee you do it for 6 months. You'll look back and like, why didn't I do that? 6 months from now. Right now, the world's shut down. We're going to just shut down again. Guess what? We can still do everything from home, and we can still do face-to-face. Just going to make sure you're doing this stuff. There's nothing else better to do. You can't even go to now they're saying patios open, right? It's freezing now. Come on, we're doing that, right? What are we doing here in April? So guys, why don't we just go to work? Why don't we just go find out exactly what this is all about? The next one, get excited about the discovery portion of your business, which is the action. Get excited about doing your appointments. Oh, I got 5 appointments set up today. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be You get excited about it, guys. As soon as you get online with them, they're going to know you're excited. You're excited to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Because that person could lead to 10 people. That's why I always sit down. One person, if you have one presentation, I'm thinking not I'm selling this person. I'm thinking this person has 10 people that I don't know. How can I get them out of them too? My presentation is going to be fantastic. I'm going to knock their socks off. And if it's not for them, that's fine. I'm going to get to their 10 people because everybody gets sick and hurt. This is probably the greatest opportunity ever. Next one up, celebrate all the wins, right? Make a massive deal about everything you've learned and discovered. Oh, you found something, get excited about it. You got to win this week. You're hearing from Abigail. What does she like to hear? Say my name, say my name. She loves it, right? Every single day. Janelle, do you see Janelle likes to hear her name?
Yes.
Yeah. So she found out a little secret. If the more you win here, the more her name gets mentioned.
That's right.
Isn't it crazy? Be like, oh, I like recognition. No, I don't like recognition, but you know, I like recognition. Get in the group every day, just make a sale every day. And everyone's like, oh, she's the boss. You're on fire. She's like, yeah, I am. So boom. Think about it. Respect the process. Know it's going to be swimming upstream and it's going to take time, but it's going to be worth it.
Yes, 100%.
Just got to know it's swimming upstream. That's how we were born. It went upstream. Hey, everything is tough in life. The chances of being born is like crazy. So if we know that this is tough, then you're going to be able to set for it. So you think Elon Musk doesn't know that like those businesses were going to be tough? Do you know the thing Arnold Schwarzenegger was like, I'm going to be the #1 block off? Like, what? He couldn't even speak the language. And all that kind of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, but it's the mentality like, respect the process, understand this is going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, and take that out the door. But it's worth it. I promise you, because then you can start having the lifestyle that you've ever dreamed of. And it's just around the corner. In 1 to 2 years from now, you can set up your week, and we're going to talk about that in the most unbelievable way, and you'll be making the money. If you got to 1,000 to 2,000 clients over the next 2 to 3 years, 4 years, literally you can go anywhere in the world. I was talking to Nick. I don't know if you guys know Nick.
Yeah.
I was literally talking to him, and he's like, I never even thought of that. Combine doesn't even know what they have here. We can be anywhere in the world now doing presentations. So you just got to get as many people on top of it and then building up your business. So respect the process. This is going to be tough. Don't think this is going to be easy, and just go after it, because then your brain's like, yeah, this is going to be tough. You get prepared for it. It's like if you're going to play it like in a soccer game, I know that's a better team, I'm stepping up. But if I know it's a weak team, I'm like, whatever. I used to even take the surprise. Before the game, I used to boot the ball in the air and then just run around the field chasing it. People were like, and then I could see their team being like, I thought these guys were good. This guy's like, I haven't even got his shin pads on. I'm just kicking the ball as high as I can. And then once the game comes around, I go, all right, guys, let's go. Game time. And then we just go at them. They just would not expect it. Like the element of surprise is a beautiful thing. You just get to show people every single week here in this business who you really are. And then last one is laser focus. Work on the things that are direct route to the success. Don't waste time on things you're not going to get the best bang for your buck. Now, we all know what those things are, and you're going to find out what they are today, just in case you didn't. But there's a lot of things that can get in the way and make you think that you're working. But the way my brain works is, why would you do that? The only difference is that I'm just like, I don't want to do that. And then a lot of the most successful people that I've learned from, just because I'm studying it, do not waste time on things, especially excuses, on things that get in the way. They just go, this is the #1 thing to get me presentations. This is the #1 thing to get me the sales. What's the direct route here? We all kind of know what they are, but for some reason we'll say a bunch of other things, right? And all that kind of stuff. Because again, trainings are great, but the #1 route is to sale is, we'll find out in a second here. All right, so follow the money. There's 2 things. Pretty much #1 is the thing, and you've seen this before. Abigail even said it. What do you guys think it is? The #1 route to building your business. Rose is up there. You know what it is? Prospecting, yes. And it is,
Referrals.
yes. And it is all that, and it is, we all know what exactly it is. It's our whole business model.
Lemons.
Conversations to book appointments.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the #1 thing that'll blow up your business. It's not picking up the phone. Hi, Mom, how's it going? I just got to call you because we're doing a call blitz. Pretend you're interested in me. So many years you didn't, right? The idea is you can have as many phone calls as you want, but if you're not actually having a conversation to book an appointment, it's nothing. Conversations to book appointment means it's an action in the talking every time.
That's right.
I'm literally every single time in any business I've ever done, I'm listening to them. I ask them questions so they start talking, and then I have a solution. I'm guiding them to something, right? Have you ever been sick or hurt before? If you literally, this is our business, just to let you guys know. Have you ever been sick or hurt before? Oh, you have you? Let me show you something really quick. Send it in the World Wide Web. I don't even get how that works. You get paid, and then you go like this. Oh yeah. Do you have any friends? That's your business. That's the complete business. If there's anything else, that is it. You go talk to people, ask them if they've ever been sick or hurt. Because isn't that way we're kind of in the conversation? You kind of sit there and you're like, oh, I didn't bring it up. Hey, what are you complaining about this month? My back. Perfect. What happened?
Mhm.
Right? Isn't it simple? Like we have the best gift ever. People complain all the time. Debbie, you know what I'm talking about, right? People come in her place like, oh, my back. Oh, what happened? Did you get paid for that? I know this company. You broke your leg. Oh my goodness. I know this company got you $4,200. Could you have used $4,200? Isn't that crazy? Isn't it as simple as that? And that's the whole point, is conversations to book appointments. So let's get right through it. Networking. Every time you're networking, it's a conversation to book an appointment.
Mhm.
Some people go to a networking event and they just get a bunch of names, but it's all about having a conversation to book an appointment.
Right.
Right? So you ask them what they do, and then they ask you what you do,
Mhm.
and then you got to make sure you're ready to go, which is promoter talk, and that's why we created that, because that's the whole thing about conversation to book an appointment. You can go to a networking event and you just start doing promoter talk throughout the entire time. Hey, what do you do? I got hired by this company. You don't know? I got hired by this company that nobody knows about. I love it. I get to show people this all the time. And the reason why nobody knows about it is because the way it's marketed is in farming communities. By knocking on doors. Can you believe that? They're still doing that? Like what happens if somebody knocks on your door in the city? You hide, exactly. So COVID, are you kidding me, right? There's no chance. So that's why they've hired me, just to go out there. So I have my background in soccer. So I'm out there going out there and talking to as many people in soccer injuries. But you know what else I knew? A lot of my friends and people I know also play sports and do things. I'm just like, I have to get 10 appointments every single week. It would help me out. If I can just show you, it takes 10, 15 minutes. Every single time. It's just confidence. And you know, if somebody goes like this, I don't really care. Perfect. Next. Perfect. Next. Who cares? There's 4 million people in Alberta. Woo! Like, oh my goodness, right? You don't want to get paid for getting sick or hurt? Okay, the next person. Like, come on. Your leg is broken, 4,200 or 0. What do you want? What? Nope. Next up, warm market, conversation to book appointment. It's not to catch up for 45 minutes.
Mhm.
I'd be like this, hey, there's a reason why I'm calling is I got hired by this company. Why? Because when you start talking for half an hour and then all of a sudden you bring it up,
Mhm.
people know me as like, I don't got time to waste. Right? The clock is ticking. I'm going to die sometime. I got to get ahead. Cold calling, B2B, surveys, and 3-foot rule. Cold
Mhm.
calling. Mike did a great job on this. You
Mhm.
can just literally go on Google and research all day spas or anything like that, and you could find out, or you can go do that. You could find out daycare. You can find out anything like that and just start calling them. Mechanic shops, call them, right? And then you're going to get good at it. Now, yes, we're not going to teach you so much on cold. You're going to get beat up on that one, but at least it gives you an activity every single day. Pretty cool. Or once a week, maybe just do it maybe for an hour once a week, where you just make some calls like that. Why not, right? You don't do it every single day because maybe you just like, you don't like the feeling of that, but you're like, you know what, Friday? I'm usually pumped on Friday to do that for 1 hour, right? B2B, right? Business to business. Right now we can't do that, so scratch it. But obviously, if you could take 2 hours every single week, you don't need to do 8 hours, just do 2 hours.
Mhm.
Make it fun. This is your life. This is your business. Like, I'm gonna do 2 hours of that, because you just start doing the activity, you never know who you're gonna run into. I guarantee if you do it 2 hours for serious, you're gonna get it. Surveys, you guys all know what a survey is, right?
Yeah.
You've seen them before, right? The thing is you don't want to do them every single day, because sometimes it gets repetitive, right? But if you just do 1 to 2 hours a week and you get 25 names, that's 25 new names every single week. And then you get better at it the more times you do it. Right? Hi there, I work in the city and in conjunction with Alberta Healthcare. And we're just finding out, have you ever been hospitalized before? Yes? Circle the easy question, right? Was it due to an act, or were you or anybody, I actually wouldn't even say that, I would say you or anybody that's ever been hospitalized? Yes, who was it? Oh, myself, what happened? Oh, I ended up breaking my leg. How long were you in the hospital? Just 1 day? Perfect, circle that kind of stuff. And then you just start learning information, then you get their email, and then you get their phone number. Hey, would you like to learn more information? Because we want to be out there helping Canadians, making sure they're getting a paycheck every time they do get hurt.
Mhm.
Anything like that. And then you can work that out every single time. It doesn't matter, because one time you're like, that didn't work, next person, next person, next person.
Right.
If you just do that maybe 2 hours a week, your business will start to have all these other things starting to go forward.
Mhm.
But it's a conversation to book an appointment, just like Maggie does.
Yeah.
Right? Maggie's selling things in a garage sale. All of a sudden she does a spin move into somehow getting them signed up. What is that? Because she wants to have a conversation to book an appointment. You already bought something. You like buying things. Got something else for you, right? It doesn't matter, right? Get hot, get fired. Like, let's do it. I don't know what else is going on in life, right? Tell me what is better than making money. It's like having a this or free trips. guys. No, you gotta get on one of these trips here. Conversation to book appointments, referrals, thank you program, right? It's conversation to book an appointment. Every time you're talking about asking for referrals, now it's a better lead to having more conversations to book appointments. Hey, can I get a couple names? Do you know anybody that has 2 or more kids? Yeah. Jenny does. Oh, perfect. Who's Jenny? What do you like best about Jenny?
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, and she could probably use this. Her kid's a little crazy. Yeah, daughters, that's for sure. Right? Bam. But guys, and then it's like, oh my goodness, and then you call Jenny like, hey Jenny, I heard your daughter's crazy, right? And then you can just do whatever. Just have fun with it, guys, right?
That's
But it's a
right.
conversation to book appointment.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Mhm.
Social media, conversation to book appointments.
Mhm.
This is where it can get tricky, but the whole point of it is to
Book appointments.
use social media, because a lot of people that social media use them, which means they're on
Stalk
Instagram just
people.
checking things out all the time, right? Look at this video, it's amazing, right? But if you're using it, you can actually just go on private message people.
Yeah.
And start talking to them. And I know a lot of people have had a lot of success that way.
True.
If you ask Kelly, she's brought it up in her training. She's like, you just private message your network on Facebook and then you get them to the phone. You're not going to tell them what you do on there. You just get them on the phone. Hey, we didn't catch up in a long time. They were your friend, or supposedly anyways, right? Or a creep, whatever it is. Now we can be from Zoom land, it doesn't matter. But the idea is that it's a conversation to book an appointment.
Mhm.
Again, what are you doing on social media? If it's, you think you got to spend all this time on social media, you don't. Because the whole point of it is to have a conversation to book an appointment. Janelle is the #1 person that's ever done this. And the #1 thing that she did was taking pictures of her with clients. Even if you did that on Zoom, new client just got this, they're like, thumbs up. You know why people do that? Because people buy on the approval of other people. And then they see somebody being successful. If you're gonna get a realtor, do you wanna just use the person that sold one? Or do you wanna see the person on their website and they got like all these sales all the time? You're like, okay, I'm gonna use that person. Same thing here. That's a conversation to book an appointment. So when you call them, they're like, hey, I see you doing really well. I saw you won the trip. I saw you got a washer and dryer for your parents. Yeah, I got this crazy company. All I gotta do is show this thing 10 times a week. Well, yeah, they're my dancing, but they're gonna keep coming. Claims. Conversation to book an appointment. Our whole business model is based on claims. The whole thing. If you get a claim, you need to get to their house. You need to make that your #1 priority and make the biggest deal out of it.
Mhm.
They just got paid for something they didn't even think they're gonna get paid for. Do you know how many insurance companies don't pay or find a way not to? If they get paid here, you call them. Here's something that we're gonna implement. When you do have a claim, we're gonna get your sales leader to call them. I did this for Janelle the other day, and I'll just give you an example. We're gonna get good at this, but this is how simple it is. Janelle, I'm like, okay, she just got a claim. She kind of tells me how much it was. Perfect. I'm calling on behalf of Combined. Why am I doing that? Because I work for Combined, and so do everybody else here, right? We all work for Combined. We're gonna ignore the fire alarm. So we all work for Combined. That is distracting. So we all work. Do you think we have to go? Yeah?
I'll go check.
Okay, we'll just get somebody to check. Sorry, guys.
I
So
didn't get a memo.
we all work for Combined. So when I call, hey Maggie, oh Maggie,
Maggie, close the door, please.
sorry, Maggie. Thank you. Okay, so when we call for Combined, I call Janelle's person. I go like this. I go, hey there, how's it going? I think her name is Sarah, right? I don't know. I'm like, hey Sarah, how's it going? I heard you just got your payout from Combined. She goes, yeah. I'm like, and how was it? She's like, great. And she's like, I'm like, and does that help you in any way for any of your finances? She goes, yes. I'm like, what? Well, how'd it help? And then she says it helped me pay for the time I had to take off, and I ended up getting, she got 2,100. And then she's like, I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. She's like, yeah, totally great. All right, so the reason why I'm calling is to make sure everything really went well. But my other thing is to make sure that how Janelle's performance was, and to make sure that she reached out and she went above and beyond for you. And she's like, oh my God, Janelle was so great. She helped me with this, she helped me with that. Everything got done, and she said this, and she was just so excited for me too. I'm like, I know, Janelle's the best. She gets the highest reviews. And then I'm like this. So the other reason why I'm calling is also, she's gonna do a review in about probably a month from now. She's gonna sit down with you and do a nice little review to make sure you know your products, so that when people ask you about it, you can actually know a little bit more about them. Does that sound good? So she's gonna call you probably this week here and then sit down with you. And also on top of that, because again, our company is about building relationships and growing, and we're not spending the money on advertising, that's how you got paid on your claim. What we're gonna ask is if you could have a couple people that you could have a couple names from. So do you know anybody else from your work that could have benefited from something like this? And then she goes, yes. I'm like, so what's their name? What about them? I'm like this, can you make sure you write down those 2 names and then we can reach out to them? And then she goes, yeah. And then Janelle, can you just comment on what happened?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, amazing. Yes. So then when I called her, she's like, "Oh my gosh, had the best call from Combine. It was really great. She upgraded her plan because she only had accidents, so she got all sickness plans, and then she gave me 3 referrals."
Let's give Janelle a huge round of applause. So was that a hard thing to do?
No, it was
I guarantee your sales leader is going to be happy to do a nice welcome call. Hey, I heard you just got paid. And do a review on the thing like that. Do you know how easy it is? Because it's third person.
Mhm.
See, the reason why we're not getting referrals is because you're calling your friend like, or the person like, hey, so do you know anybody? But if I call, or your sales leader calls, I can't call everyone, right? Your sales leader calls, guess what? It's coming from a third person from the company, and it's just doing a customer service check. And now they can say things that you could never say. The reason why we're doing this is because the company doesn't pay claims. Doesn't pay, pays claims, but doesn't pay advertising. So this is how you build a business, right? Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
So it's a conversation to book an appointment every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can go, I'm not sure, but
it's all good.
okay, okay, perfect. I'm going for it anyways. I'm gonna burn with the building. So focus on me. For you. So everything, pretty much every single thing you do here is a conversation to book an appointment.
Yes.
If you're not doing a conversation to book an appointment, you are not doing your business. That's it. If you want to know the secret sauce of anybody that ever asked you any time in your entire life, how do you win successful in business, is having conversations to book appointments is number 1. Somebody's like, oh, but I thought it's just, showing up and building relationships. Nope. That is stuff that helps. But the number 1 thing to be a good salesperson, to be number 1, is to have as many conversations to book appointments as possible. Not just phone calls, not that kind of stuff, but an actual conversation to book an appointment. So it starts to build in that proper way. Awesome. Okay. So next up here, we've seen this before. Warm Market 3 presentations. T-System, Synergy Network, Association Soccer, meetups, social media, private messaging, social media, show pics of happy clients, partnerships with mortgage brokers, financials, agents, accountants, community board, so being on the community board, and a survey every single week. So remember Dan said pick 2 from all that thing, we did that training? This is what this person would look like. So if this is your business and you're doing all of these things, how easy is it to hit 10 appointments? But if you're just focusing on your warm network or just 3-foot recruiting or prospecting, then it becomes tougher. But if you're doing all these things, now the association is going to take some time, but then you can start going like that. That takes a bit of time, but you know that you're building up for it, and one day it can actually hit. The T-System, what's the T-System? After you make a sale, you go to the neighbor and across the street. Because guess what? Most people know their neighbor and across the street. So now you can ask them referrals and you can use their name because that makes it so much easier. So again, you can't do live, but you could ask them, hey, what's your neighbor's name? They know the neighbor's name. Hey, do you mind if we reach out to them? All that kind of stuff and everything like that. So associations, social media, doing 3 private messages and trying to get to 3 appointments every single week. 3 warm market every single week. That's 6. So do you see how much easier it is to get to your 10 if you're doing more things? But see, you got to get focused. This has got to be the most important thing in your life. If it's not, and again, your kids and everything like that, but if this is your number 1 thing, you're like, I've got all these things going, over time, you just get good at it and it becomes nothing. You just like look at it like, oh, hey, nothing. Janelle does a bunch of these things right now and she doesn't even think about them anymore. She's just constantly going to that and all these different businesses because the whole thing is to have a conversation to book an appointment. And it makes your job so much easier. But if you're only doing 1 or 2 of these things, that's why you're halted, is because you're not doing enough. But if you just start doing enough and then it becomes easier and like, oh my goodness, I have so many coming in right now. Sometimes I have 15, 20 appointments and it starts to blow up your business. Conversations to book appointments. All right, so the second rule, who wants to know the second one?
Yes.
You guys know what it is?
We want to know.
I'm telling you, it's super secrets here. We're gonna burn. It's appointments. Please, help me. Help them. Do anything. Appointments, right?
Right.
Conversation book appointments and your appointments. So here's the thing. Practice and implementation of training, constantly making the best presentation ever. If your presentation is the best ever, and you know this, and you're practicing, and you're getting better every single week, and adding accompanying the third party, and everything like that, your presentation should be getting better every single time. And then when you sit down with them, you don't have to worry about nothing. But your presentation, what you got to think about is, if I showed Ginny or Janelle today, is my presentation up to par? And if you went to Janelle and said, Janelle, let me have it if it's not, who would do it? Who would feel comfortable with it? Right? Or let's
I
go get-
would.
Yes, right? And let's get Guy Sauvé. We'll get Guy, the president of the company. I'm like, let's show them the presentation. Who here now is like, okay, I gotta go practice a little bit. So why
Right.
wouldn't we practice now? You're
Right.
sitting down in front of somebody and you generally like to help people. And the only thing that's gonna happen is that you sit down with them and they see the value in this and something happens to them, they're gonna thank you for the rest of their life.
That's
They're
right.
gonna remember you did this, and they're sitting right there, and we haven't practiced our presentation. It's
Mhm.
incredible. I practice presentation every single day. If I don't have an appointment, I would be practicing presentation every single day. The promoter talk is just something you should be so fluent with, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
People are like, Mark, I sound robotic with the promoter talk. Then go talk to a bunch of random strangers, and they'll fix that for you really, really quickly, right? So you just constantly will figure that kind of stuff out. But here's the warning: if you're not closing 100% of your presentations, that means you can improve. I promise you, if you were doing 20 presentations in a week and you got one sale, but just think of this, okay? You're crazy. You're like, okay, I gotta follow the money. I wanna build this business. I'm gonna do this kind of thing. I just did 10 presentations. I got one sale. Okay, so what can I do to improve on it? Okay, 9 of these 10, I probably talk too much. If I'm talking, guess what? That's not selling. That's me talking and talking about all my insecurities out loud. Whatever it is. The idea is I'm asking more questions. This next one, I'm gonna ask more questions. I'm actually trying to minimize my words to like 200 words. You start to figure these things out. Remember, this is about our lives. This is about success. This is about appointments. So if you're just sitting with somebody, you're like, I'd be going crazy. How can I get the best presentation ever?
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about? But
Yeah.
we haven't practiced enough. And some people are like, yeah, my presentation's the best. If it's not 100%, it's not 100%.
Mhm.
That just means there's room for giving, because I guarantee you, Floyd Wickman, the guy that kind of trained like a lot of people in the world, he sits down with you for some reason you're buying. And he's not like over the top pressure. He's like a whimsical wizard. But because he's figured out the formula. So we haven't got to that time yet. If that makes sense. So appointments again. You go on an appointment. This is the best thing about our business. This is the most amazing thing you're ever going to see. Is a referral back to conversations to book appointments. Back to appointments. I don't know if people don't get excited about that. I don't know.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Edmonton's excited. Woo!
Yes, thank you. I'm just so sorry that there's an alarm going on. But that's music to my ears. And because this thing is saying, the alarm is going on for this stuff. I know there's an alarm going on, but I'm telling you guys right here, if you figured this out, we don't do this here. No one has figured this out yet. Every time I sit with somebody, I'm going to be like, the path of least resistance is to ask them if they're 40% closed, if I get referrals from them, it's that much easier. Then I don't have to go out there in 3-foot record and then do a survey and then network. I could just do this. Your game should be like, how can I get 10 people from this person? Every time you sit down with somebody, you shouldn't be about getting them sold. It's like, how do I get to the network? How good does my presentation have to be to get them to want to refer me to everyone?
Mhm.
Guys, I'm talking even networking. I know even BNI. They say you have to meet with somebody and not talk about the business. You think I'm going to sit down with somebody in a referral business
Right.
platform and not talk about my business?
Right.
Hey, rules are meant to be broken, not the law, but rules. I'm not going to waste my time because the first 5 minutes, I'm going to charm them and I'm going to talk to them and they're going to be like, oh my goodness, what do you do? You know what? Let's get a little naughty here. Let's break some rules. What do you say? And I would do it. I would just be like, sure. And the next thing we're signing up. What are you talking about, guys? Getting referrals. Let's get the best relationship. It's like, it's right here. The ether is just right here. And if that's the formula right there in front of us, appointments, referrals, conversation to book an appointment. So right there, you can get 3 names from somebody and you can find out what they like about them. Why would they need it? So why would Jenny need this? Her kids are crazy. Her husband, he just got like cracked in the head the other day. He would have loved to get this kind of money. Oh my goodness. Then when you call Jenny, what are you bringing up? Those things. Like, how cool is that? You
Yeah.
got information. You don't have to walk up to a random stranger. You don't even have to call your warm market again and be like, hey, you're talking to somebody else and somebody else. That's the whole secret right there. So it's conversation to book an appointment and referrals will crush your business.
Mhm.
If the activity is not to do with conversations to book appointments or appointments, you're working against yourself.
That's right.
Every time there's a referral, you're trying to get an appointment, you're trying to get referrals. Every time there's a claim, you should have 10 referrals. Do whatever you can. Keep calling them. Get them on the thank you program. When they get a thank you, call them again. Right? Doing this stuff, it's like, how can I blow up my business? Because if you just start doing it for 6 months like a crazy person, I guarantee you look back and be like, oh my goodness. That's how you see the spark in Janelle's, Teresa's, Kelly's, Ginny's business, is because they do this and they go crazy at it and it just starts to form and it pays out for the rest of the year and you get to go on fun trips. Yeah. You guys remember this?
Yep.
So if you add all these things, continuing education, the goals, the drive, the respect, the adding value, all these types of things here, guys, these things are going to add everything to your business. Now we're going to take a couple more minutes because of the alarm here, guys. Because I want to get to this part here. This is the fast start. I guess actually we should get to the video and just come back to this one. We're going to come back to this on Monday because again, we're getting a little bit late here. We'll get to the video. But I just want to harp on this, guys, is the conversations to book appointments and appointments is the biggest key.
Mhm.
And if we can really harm those things down, we're going to talk about how to do a fast start Monday. But I need something from you guys on Mondays to have as many appointments booked up over this weekend and over this week. Let's finish strong here as much as possible, but start to build up into next week. Because guys, this will start to actually explode your business. And when we come on Monday, it's better to have this training come on Monday when you see it and already have appointments booked than to just come on Monday and be like, oh, next week is going to be the week. So
Right.
this week, our job is to book as many appointments. Is that cool?
Cool, super
Awesome,
cool.
guys. All right, so we're going to get to the video now to always finish off on a nice little video to clear this thing here for today. So we'll go to the video. We'll come back to a quick R2H2 and close everything out. Thank you guys so much for your patience and everything like that. We'll come back shortly.
Stop share.
Stop sharing.
Great job, Mark.
All right, the idea, guy, was what it means to me. Here's what I'll use in my starting day is for the R2A2 for today. We'll quickly do this, just take 30 seconds, and we'll come back and close it out. Thank you so much. Let's give Mary a huge round of applause, too. She got dropped the ball here today, too. So. All right, welcome back, welcome back. Turn your neighbor, give a high five, and say thank you for your R2A2.
Thank you for your
R2A2.
R2A2.
Fantastic. All right. So we're gonna close this thing out and get this thing rocking and rolling, guys. So first things first, apologies from this end, guys. So definitely we need to, Jester wasn't here today, so Mary kind of got this. So I give Mary a huge round of applause. It's not easy with technology, so it's something different, and we had sirens going on and stuff like that. But literally, I really believe that the siren went off for just like everything happens for a reason. And it might have been like it's a distraction time, because I tell you this, it was so funny to even watch it here, is that the siren's going off and you're like, and we're literally on the part that is the most important thing we've ever talked about in this sales career. And the distraction is right there. I was like, just kick my shoe off. I was just like, what is going on? But the siren kicked on, and kicked the other shoe off, is the idea is like, this is serious. This is something that's unbelievable. And if you really want to take your life, because I'm crazy about it. But if you're not crazy about making your life, like you can have whatever you want, and this is the vehicle to do it. Literally, every single human being needs this. And the only reason they don't have it is because we're not breaking through here. Diane said it's the saboteur, but we're the saboteur. So we know just to fix it. We just get to conversations to book appointments, because conversations to book appointments is the fastest way to the revenue. Our job is to get to the consumer.
Right.
That's all this that's the whole point of sales, is to get to the consumer. So it's conversation to book appointments. So first things up, let's give Abigail a huge round of applause for her amazing MVP. Congratulations. 9.4,000 APP. Never missed it. Let's give it up for Abigail. And let's give Ginny a huge round of applause for playing Plinko. Someone's got to win this TV. Somebody. And then, guys, obviously today is those two things: conversations to book appointments and appointments. I'm telling you, if you just focus on that and get crazy and be like, how can I get to the consumer quick enough? How many people can I talk to? There's millions of people. If you're doing all these certain things in that circle and you're doing those every single week, and again, you just need to start them. You're not going to be great at them at first, but if you just start them, you're going to feel better, because then you don't, because the number one thing that gets us down is when you don't have appointments, correct? There's actually a slide that's like, best thing to waking up is an appointment in your cup. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, Folgers. I got some gold coming, guys. Some gold coming. It's going to be on Monday, so get pumped for Monday, but get pumped by getting some appointments going, because referrals and things are going to kick into gear. Where we're going is to the moon, guys. We're going to be the best team, but we're also going to be the best at what we know here. You could be the best salesperson ever. And that's the coolest thing because you follow exactly what it takes to get done and everything separates and then you can set up your week because that's what we're going to talk about on Monday is it's going to show that you can actually just be done your week. Claude Dury, he's been with the company like 30 years. He's the #1 person. He has 250 grand diamonds.
Yeah.
And all he does is work Monday, Tuesday. And the only reason he works Wednesday is if he didn't do 5,000 APV on Monday, Tuesday. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he golfs. But it's because he has experience and he knows exactly what the route is. Don't get any ideas right now because nobody's there yet, right? But if you get there, then you can have this lifestyle that you dreamed of. Imagine just Monday, Tuesday. Done. You guys know that Janelle hits Planko every time by Wednesday night? Why is that? Monday, Tuesday.
Ooh,
That's what we're going to find out on Monday, but let's get excited. Let's build up your thing. Let's push this weekend, guys. We have to bounce back, right? We got to do 750,000. We got to get that from Mike. We got to move together, guys. Let's go out there and do something special. Let's go change this company. Let's go do what we're supposed to do because we're District 6 on.
We got this. We got this. We got this.
Give him high five. Say we got this.
We got this. Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you